Exercise 1-3 will be about manual starters. So, motor starters are special purpose electrical devices designed to handle the high electrical current that motors through momentarily when they are started from standstill, while still protecting the motors from excessive heat of overloads during normal protection. So, starting current can be several times what the motor draws at its operating speed. So, if just a fuse or circuit breaker was used, that device would blow or trip with each start. So our motor starters are made of power switches and overload protection devices. And also, it has two basic components. Our first component is the power circuits. The power circuit connects the line to the motor. It provides transmission of electricity to the starter contacts, overload relay, and then to the motor. The motor current is carried by the power contacts of the contactor. Second is the control circuit. This is the other motor starter circuit, which operates the contactor to turn it on or off. So there are two types of motor starter that was discussed and shown into your manual starter. But there are other types of power of motor starter in our field. So some of these are your magnetic motor starter, which rely on electromagnets to close and hold contactors rather than use of mechanical latching of on or off switches as used in manual starters. Next is your soft starters, which introduce digital control to electromechanical starters and enable motors to be brought up to speed subsequently, both to prevent damage to drivetrains products and to avoid overtaxing the electrical distribution service caused by high inrush current of medium and large motor undergoing full voltage starts. So, in this experiment, we have shown our manual starter. So, this manual starter will be used in our experiment. So, take note that a manual starter is made up of a contactor and a protection device. So, in this manual starter, our contactor or our main switch will be our block knob. If you would activate our block knob to I position, we would close the circuit of our line 1, line 2, line 3, making contacts to all of our 3 power lines. Power line 1, power line 2, power line 3. But if a specific current which is higher than the capacity of this manual starter will be activated, therefore, the tendency is that this manual starter will trip, causing the lines to be opened. Why? Because of this yellow potentiometer. This yellow potentiometer was set to 1.6 ampere. Actually, pwede mo rin itong iset sa 2.0 ampere and 2.5 ampere depending on the circuit or yung kaya or yung gusto ng starting current ng motor mo. But in this case, yung gagamitin nating load is the pilot lights in the 3 lines of the motor. So, in this discussion, we have shown the direct online starters and reversing starter. Itong direct online starter is a kind of a full voltage across the line application for small to medium size single and 3-phase motors. So, DOR starters are the simplest way of starting motor. Kasi, pag DOL kasi direct online, which means that if we have 3 lines, let's say line 1, line 2, and line 3, So line 1, line 2, and line 3. So let's say this is going to your source. And then meron tayong breaker, which is yung manual starter natin. Papunta to sa breaker, which is our isolating device, which is lockout. Ito yung lockout module natin. Papunta to sa manual starter natin. Manual starter, which is pag i-on natin to, inactivate natin tong breaker natin, which is our lockout module. And then meron tayong gusto nating i-turn on yung motor. So let's say wala tayong switches. Okay? So ito lang yung pa lang natin diretso, which is our push buttons. If we would activate our manual starter, therefore lahat ito iilaw. Okay? Because technically we are using our direct online starters. Okay? Without any switches. Pag wala tayong switch, sabihin natin wala tayong normally open switch na ginamit sa experiment, and then we would try this direct online starter or your full voltage across the line starters, that if you would turn on or activate the motor, all of these 3 lines will be activated immediately. That is a direct online starter. So next is our reversing starters. So take note that a reversing starter is a starter designed to make motors change direction. Reversing starter contains 2 sets of contactors which provide reverse leads to motors to allow them to turn in either direction. Reversing starters normally provide both electrical and mechanical interlocks which prevent both sets of contacts from closing at the same time. So in this experiment, we have used the CAM switch for the purpose CAM switch to interchange the line. Take note, a CAM switch is not a reversing starter. Okay? Pero pag lalagyan mo siya ng overload protection device, it can be a reversing starter. Kailangan natin ng overload protection device because of the starting current of our motor. Okay? So this is the circuit diagram of our manual or our CAM switch. Okay? So tatlo to. We have our line 1, line 2, and line 3. So line 1, line 2, and line 3. Then of course, you have our forward. Meron din tayong reverse. Pag nasa forward circuit tayo, actually itong CAM switch, para siyang contactor. Dalawang contactor wherein you have your contactor, dual contactor. You have your contactor at forward and another contactor at reverse with manual starter. So, pwede mo na siyang gamiting reversing starter. Okay? So, in this circuit, pag sinet natin siya sa forward, ito, sa forward, yung knob natin, yung mag-activate na circuit is our circuit, ito, 1 and 2. And then, we have our 3 and 4. 2 and our 7 and 8. Okay? Pag nag-activate yung 1 and 2 and 7, 8, so therefore, masasabi natin na direct online siya. Okay? Pansin nyo mabuti. Pag inactivate natin yung 1 and 2 nyo, so ito yan. So let's say ito yung line 1, line 2, line 3 mo. And then ito yung load mo. Pilot light 1, P2, pilot light 2, and pilot light 3. Pag inactivate natin yung 1 and 2, rekta siya. Line 1 natin papunta sa load 1 natin, which is magla-light to agad. And then, pag itong line 2 natin, nag-activate din. So, papunta to rekta sa line 2 natin. Therefore, ito yung magla-light. Okay? Pag naka-forward tayo. And then, pag sinet naman natin to sa reverse, okay, mapapansin mo, yung mag-activate is our line 5-6 for line 1. So, papunta ito. 5-6. Papunta ito sa line 2 mo. Okay? Pupunta to sa line 2 mo. So, therefore, mag-activate yung line 2 mo. And then, yung line 2 mo naman, mag-activate yung 3 and 4. So, mag-activate yung 3 and 4 natin sa reverse. Mag-activate yung 5-1-6 natin sa L1. Sa L2 naman, mag-activate yung 3 and 4. So, therefore, mapapansin mo yung pag-cross ng switching nila. So, therefore, yung P1 natin yung magla-light. Okay? So, take note that this contact, before you would switch it on, you must use your ohmmeter or your multimeter in determining whether there are contacts. Actually, kahapon, nung gumagawa kami ng motor, since hindi namin pa-reverse yung motor, try namin siyang tignan yung contacts niya, if tama ba to. If your contact is set to 0 position, so therefore, wala dapat contact yan, which is correct. If at forward, so your 1 and 2 should have connection. Dapat may connection, continuity yan. 3 and 4, no. Pag 3 and 4, pag nasa reverse, walang continuity. Sa 3 and 4, so if at forward, dapat walang continuity yan. Sa reverse, meron. Sa 5 and 6, at forward, dapat walang continuity yan. Sa reverse, meron. At 7 and 8, dapat sa forward, may continuity yan. Sa reverse, wala. Okay? And 9 and 10, either reverse or forward, dapat may continuity yan because we did not interchange any of the line. Okay? So, let us start our experiment based on the video presentation that was uploaded. Okay, in the first exercise, you will examine the manual starter, determining that it has both power contacts and overload protection. So, meron tayong power contacts at overload protection sa manual starter natin. Basically, ito yung overload protection natin, yung potentiometer, which sasabihin nyo kung mataas o masyadong starting current natin or mababa. What is the benefit of this manual starter? Basically, yung manual starter natin, the benefit niyan is that hindi laging nagtitrip yung breaker mo. Hindi ka on and off ng breaker or palit ng fuse. Pag fuse lang kasi yung ginamit mo dito, pag nagkamali ka, sasabog yung fuse mo, papalitan mo naman yung fuse mo. Okay? Unlike dito, pwede mong iset yung current na needed para hindi mag-trip yung motor mo. Or, para makita mo kung ano dapat yung current na gamitin mo instead of 1.6 or 2.0 or 2.5. Okay? Kung kaya naman ng motor at kaya ng linya, okay, you may set the potentiometer accordingly. So, examine the manual starter module. What is the range of the manual starter overload? So, indicated the module faceplate. So, yung overcurrent range natin is actually at 1.6 ampere. Yung nasa manual starter natin. So, what is the purpose of the block knob of the manual starter? Actually, the purpose of this block knob is to actuate the manual starter. So, when the lockout module was already turned on. So, what is the purpose of the yellow potentiometer on the manual starter? The purpose of this one is for overload protection, which is set to 1.6 ampere. Is it appropriate to call this a device motor starter? Yes, basically because it has both of the power lines, your contactor natin, and the protection device. So, this is our circuit. Okay? So, this is our manual starter. As you can see, that madali lang naman siyang basahin, di ba? Basahin yung circuit natin. Okay? So, take note, gagamitin nating line is line to line voltage, which is from 208 volts to 120 volts. Yan yung control transformer natin. And then, papunta tayo sa lights ng A, L, PL, and CL. So, from line to to. Ito yung maging line 1 natin. This will have a continuity to our loads. And then, our switches. Take note that the switches or the push buttons are connected in series with the loads and our manual starter. Once na in-on natin itong lockout module, so mag-close itong linya natin. And then, pag in-on natin to, syempre mag-close din yung linya natin. After turning on the lockout module and the manual starter, possibly, no pilot lights must be turned on. Why? Basically, sa explanation ko kanina, pag walang switch, which is a normally open switch, basically mag-on yan agad. Okay? But, since meron tayong switches, push button, so therefore, kailangan nating i-turn on tong push button mo. Yan. Full voltages yan, para mag-on silang tatlo. So therefore, if I would activate my A push button, my AL push button should activate. If I would activate my B push button, my BL push button should activate. And if I would activate my C push button, my CL push button should activate. Okay? So, sagutan natin to. Just activate. What type of starter is it? So, DOL starter, direct online, or full voltage starter. Direct online means kung ano yung nasa line 1, line 2, line 3, walang magi-interchange. So, therefore, it will directly open or close the circuit. So, DOL starter. Okay. Perform the lockout tagout procedure. Lockout tagout treat tayo. So, cam switch or cam switch reversing circuit. Examine the cam switch module. Does the module permit on and off switching? And off switching? Probably yes. For the operating modes of this module. So, pag cam switch kasi, mapapansin mo, ito yun. Ito yung cam switch natin. Cam switch. Diba? Ano ba yung mga operating modes natin? Tatlo yan. Tama? Meron tayong forward, stop, and reverse. So, forward, stop, and reverse are the operation of our cam switch. Okay. Next. Does the cam switch incorporate an overload relay? No. So, walang overload relay yung cam switch natin. But actually, pag linagyan natin ng overload relay yan, probably parang ang type niyan is maging dual contactor siya with overload relay. So, therefore, pwede natin siya sabihin reversing circuit. Okay? So, therefore, since wala siyang overload relay, I may say that it is no. So, sagot no. Yes. Ang ilalagay ko na lang is our stop, forward, reverse. Next is this cam switch circuit. Cam switch circuit. So, as I have said, so this is the diagram of your cam switch. Pag sinet ko yung cam switch natin at let's say dito sa forward, ay magsulat. Okay? If I would set my cam switch to forward position, ito. So therefore, the lines that would close is basically our line 1 and 2, and our line 7 and 8. Pag naka-forward yan, pansinin mo. So ito yung line 1 and 2 mo. Ito yung line 2 mo, pupunta siya directly sa red red load or yung red pilot light. So ito yung forward position natin. Okay, forward position. So is it appropriate to call this device a motor starter? No, because the cam switch does not provide overload protection. So connect the circuit in the figure 1 thus to perform the energizing procedure. So pag forward tayo, okay, nasa forward position tayo, pag pinush ko yung push button A, so therefore, my AL push button will activate. Okay, AL push button will activate. So therefore, cross natin to. So dito tayo para makita natin yung A at B. Pag pinush ko yung A push button, our AL push button will activate at forward. Pag pinush ko yung B, yung BL push button ko is mag-activate. At pag pinush ko yung C, may CL push button will activate. Okay? So at forward position, ito, mag-activate at forward. Mag-activate to at forward. Doon mag-activate to at forward. Pag I would set it to reverse position. Okay, pag reverse position tayo. So, pag nasa reverse position tayo, the one that would activate is our lines 5 and 6. And then, our lines 3 and 4. So, take note na pag ilagay na natin yung sa stop position, sa reverse position, mag-open na rin yung line 1 and 2 nyo. Okay, kaya para hindi ma-shorted dyan pag hindi yan nag-open o si-shorted dyan, okay? Yan. So, if I would press my A push button, ang mag-activate is our BL load. Pag prinas ko naman tong B push button, yung mag-activate is our AL load. Okay? So therefore, at reverse position, pag nasa reverse, BL push button, reverse, at reverse position, our BL will activate. At pag B naman yung press natin at reverse, our AL will activate. Okay? At sa C, pag naka-reverse siya pa rin yung mag-activate. So take note, pag nasa stop tayo, probably nothing will actuate. Okay? Kasi nga nasa stop tayo, walang connection. Kahit na yun mo, kahit i-push mo yung push button, wala pa rin connection na magaganap because nasa stop push button tayo. Ito. Pag nasa stop tayo naman, pag nasa stop, walang magko-connect na linya. Kaya kahit i-push mo to, walang mag-light na pilot light. Okay? So compare the forward mode, which lines have been changed. So the correct answer is this one, is yung lines 1 and 2. Pero pag inibahan ko, kung sakali, yung connection niya, therefore, pwedeng 2 and 3, 3 and 4. 1 and 3, 2 and 3, or none. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and or 2, or 1 and 3. Pero since in our experiment, we are basing it on experiment, the lines that were interchanged were your 1 and 2. So, what type of starter can be constructed with a count switch and an appropriate overload relay? So, it is reversing starter. Why? Because basically, you would reverse any of the two lines of the motor or of the motor of the load. Okay? So, that's our experiment number 3.